Welcome, everybody, to Week 3 media availability. Coach will open up with a statement here, and then we'll open it up to questions. If you have questions, just remember, raise your hand, and we'll get you a wireless mic. Coach.
Yeah, thanks for coming. First thing is I just want to thank all the Hokie fans for coming out Saturday night. You can't thank them enough, and we're going to continue to do that. The crowd was phenomenal, and the weather didn't deter anybody, which was fantastic. I actually saw a Boston College member of their creative staff tweeted out the most impressive entrance for a football game he's ever been around or experienced, which I did hit like on that one. Just super proud of the fan base and what it means to our players. And obviously we've got a couple more Saturdays coming up. This weekend against Wofford, good opponent. I've coached in FCS ball, have tremendous respect for Wofford. Messed with them a number of times in my career. And, so we'll need everybody out there full force. And as well as it's Military Appreciation Day, which is a great opportunity for our staff, our team, our fans to honor those men and women who serve and make great sacrifices for our country. So looking forward to Saturday. I'll take some questions.
Andy?
I think last week you had 18 guys who played 20 or more snaps on defense. Is that something you want? Is more guys playing, get into the game? Do you look at this week as an opportunity to test some guys out and see what they're capable of out there?
So the first part of that question, yeah, we want to create and build depth. And I think the more guys that you can have in your rotation, the better, the healthier. Guys that are more invested every day of the week because they know they're going to see the field. But those guys have to earn the right to play. We have to trust to put them out there. And, and that also means the assistant coaches have to trust when I say play him, we're not going to double back on Sunday and say, why'd you have him out there? He's not ready. We have, you create depth and build depth throughout the week, but also by game experience. And we have to be able to do that. And there is the right time and place in a ball game to put somebody in that's not playing at the level of a starter. And we have to be mindful and conscientious in how we do that. I think the other thing is, the goal is to be 1-0 this week. And, I don't know how the game plays out. I don't know, is it a 4-quarter game? I don't know. We have a method each and every week and a rotation that we talk about on Saturday mornings. This week with the early game, it'll be on Friday evening. We go around the table, and each staff member, we talk about what the rotation's going to look like, what we ideally want. And then hopefully it plays out that way. And if the game swings one way, maybe that number 2 doesn't get the snaps we were hoping he'd get. If it swings another way, maybe he gets a few more than we were hoping he'd get. So it's definitely something that has to be monitored, and it's talked about.
I know Malachi's been out. Keyshawn got nicked up a little in the last game. How do you approach injured guys like this in a week like this where then you have a short week the following week with the Thursday night game? Do you approach it more cautiously with them on Saturday? Any outlook on those two in particular?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say. I want to see what they look like come Thursday, Friday, even Saturday morning. We have to do everything we can to win the football game. And, we can't hold anything back. Those are in-game decisions to me, on where you can spell a guy and if you need a guy. And, we've got a plan this week. And, just like every other week, we got to get guys ready, and we'll make game time decisions on if a guy can play or not. I think there's always the question is it more valuable to rest somebody and not play them than to try and get some reps out of them? Some of it depends the depth at that position, what that looks like. Obviously, at running back, it's compounded because of Malachi's situation, but Keyshawn's in pretty good shape.
David and then Mark.
Through 2 weeks, how do you feel like the offensive line has played, particularly in the run game, and what would you like to see more out of those guys?
Yeah, I think they've played pretty well. I think for 2 games under their belt, there hasn't been a ton of execution errors. There's been some penalty things that we have to clean up. There was, another one crept up on Saturday, but I think we're pretty pleased right now. But just like with the rest of the team, there's a ton of improvement left on the table. We got to keep working in the right direction. But those guys are playing well together. We got to continue to build depth at that spot. But I'm very pleased with that group right now.
Andy mentioned Keyshawn earlier. It seems like he's really taken some big steps from when we last saw him play in previous seasons. Is this kind of what you expected out of him? One big long run last week, over 100 yards in the season opener. Is anything surprising to you, or is this kind of what you expected?
Yeah, it's what we hoped for. He's our most explosive player, as I've said. And, your most explosive player needs to be productive.
Let's go, Mark.
Hi, Mark Berman of the Roanoke Times. Good to see you.
Hey, man.
Did you kind of know going into the season that the defense was going to be this good, or has any part of the defense's performance so far been a pleasant surprise to you?
First of all, we're only 2 games in, and you're only as good as your last game. So,
The last game's defense was pretty good. So.
well, and again, so we're good in that game, right? We got a long season left. We got a ton of areas we have to continue to improve defensively. We obviously have a high standard, high expectation. Me personally, I do, for what that unit needs to look like, and we're not certainly there yet. But I'm proud of the progress. I'm proud of the performance and the things we're emphasizing right now. And we got some veterans on that side of the ball. We got some guys that have been in a bunch of battles, and that certainly helps a lot. And we were able to do a little bit more with our package than maybe you normally would in year one, because there are some old heads. Taiwan's a vet, and Dax is a vet, and Pollard and Mario, and there's just a bunch of guys that have played a lot of football. Chamari, and Dorian and these guys, and even Armani. So, but we've got the basis for a pretty good group. We still got some areas that we've got to come along in to be a well-rounded, complete unit.
What areas you're referring to?
Yeah, we have to. I know this is this wouldn't exactly jive with what transpired on Saturday, but we have to continue to prove that we can rush with 4, against quality offensive linemen. We have to be able to establish, that we can win enough one-on-ones, which we certainly did Saturday. So I don't want to take anything away from that. But one performance to me isn't enough to validate anything.
You said Wofford's a good opponent, but that's an 0-2 team that hasn't scored a point yet this year, and they've been playing fellow FCS teams. Do you challenge the defense? Okay, boys, I want to see a shutout on Saturday.
Yeah, again, we got to be 1-0 this week, right? And the standard's the standard. And I think I said Wofford's a good program. Those guys won that league just a few years ago, 2 years in a row. I always look back at their coaching staff. People like to talk about Virginia Tech and what's happened here, right? They've had some good history there, a lot of playoff runs, conference championships, and they're a proud program. And their offensive coordinator is one of the better veterans in the business as a play caller. So got a ton of respect for them. And, I know their head coach personally from competing against him when he was the defensive coordinator at Pitt. And I got a lot of respect for him. So I look for them to come in here and play tough and battle and be improved. So.
But because they haven't scored a point yet this year, are you going to challenge your defense and say, okay, they've been shut out twice, I want to see a shutout from you, I guess? Or what do you
No, I don't talk numbers like that. Yeah, I think that's superficial. You guys can worry about the numbers. For me, it's, I want to look, where do we need to get better? These are the things we have to improve on this week. It doesn't matter if we're playing Wofford or we're playing Boston College. You identify things in the opponent that you want to stop each week that are important. But, I don't, I'm not a big believer in talking statistics pregame, and honestly, I don't talk a lot about them postgame. The film is the film. That's where the evaluation is. Statistics can be misleading.
So overall, what do you, not just with the defense, but overall, I guess, what do you, besides the obvious, dominating win on Saturday. What are you looking to get out of this game? What do you want to see besides just the final score?
Yeah, that's a great question. I want to see improvement in all three phases. The coaches have to do a great job of making sure on special teams, defense, and offense that they know where we need to get better, because there are things we have to get better at. And, so we have to keep getting better as a program. This is just the beginning. And there's things that we have to do culturally. There's things that we have to do on that practice field that, continue to move us forward. So that's what I hope to see.
Middle room, Paul.
Brent, along the lines of the defense and even the offense, I guess, are there some guys out there that are making it really hard for you all to keep them off the field with the way they're practicing and what they're showing you during the course of the week?
No, as I said, I think we want to play more players, and you earn the right to play. You have to. Your position coach, the coordinator, the head coach need to trust you. Trust what we're going to get when we put you out there. And so you try and give it in small doses, right? Sometimes you have to force feed a guy, but you try and do it in small doses where guys have a chance in a limited role to earn trust, to gain experience, and then what was 6 reps turns into 10, and then another week later it turns into 15, and all of a sudden you have a guy that's in a healthy rotation. So if they merit playing right now, we're playing them.
And then as far as Saturday's start time, how much do you all have to adjust what you do leading up to the game? Are there things that you leave out, or will you just start earlier?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're not eliminating anything. We have trimmed some things down in our Friday procedure, and we've made some adjustments. We're going to do a little bit more here at our facility on Friday than we normally would, less at the hotel, where the hotel is a little bit more, a quick team meeting where we do our player shares, dinner, and kind of wrap it up and get it a little bit earlier, lights out, obviously, and things like that. So, just getting them ready. We're still going to do our position walk first thing Saturday morning, get those guys outdoors and breathing some fresh air and getting some sunlight, hopefully, and get them going,
Back of the room, Eric.
Coach, you mentioned a win doesn't define exactly who this team is quite yet, but how nice is it to have a win to look back on, to use as a building block as you guys try and improve?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm not taking away from the win. It was fantastic, and I think it was for everybody. It was for the coaches, it was the players, it was the fans, it was the community, particularly after a tough loss in the opener. To come back with a nice win over a conference opponent that, if I recall, that game went the other way last year. And to do that in front of the home crowd, and I think it was good for everybody.
Anthony.
I know you went for it on 4th down. That first drive is probably an easy decision, 4th and 1. Do you find yourself looking to be more aggressive in those situations? I guess, how do you approach 4th down?
Again, I think every situation is going to be different. For the most part, I'm going to trust my instincts and my gut on things, and every game plays out. There's guys, the guys in the office would tell you I'm not a big analytics guy, but I'll listen when I need to. When I don't, but each game and how each unit's playing, and that was obviously the right thing to do at that time. Whether it converted or not. I mean, for our football team and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to establish, we're going to be aggressive in that moment.
Let's go Andy, and then we'll go to Zoom.
How do you evaluate the offensive production so far? Are you getting enough from that side, do you feel like?
I thought it was better this week. Obviously inconsistencies in week 1. I think we cleaned that up, and it allowed us to see a little bit more of where we're at offensively. When you have the miscues in week 1, it's kind of hard to evaluate, because we did some good things. If you didn't know the scoreboard and you took the penalties out and you just watched game tape, play by play, you like what you see. That's what was encouraging coming out of week 1. But, we still got some work to do, obviously. We have to be able to score points and move the ball. And there was a couple of setbacks again. Too many 3rd and longs that make it difficult. And we got to help ourselves there, be better on first down.
Let's go out to Zoom.
On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. We'll start with Hank, please.
Hey, Coach. I asked you about penalties last week, so to be fair, I'll ask you again this week. It seems like a lot of the penalties in week one were kind of emotional and, I don't know, instinctual. How do you go from 15 to 5 little ones in a week's time?
Yeah, I think two things. Number one, I thought we were pressing in week one. I don't know if I've said that to you guys, but I said it to the team and the staff. You know, just pressing to, where it was unhealthy. And I think that was at the root of some of those. And obviously we emphasized it this week. Penalties are about discipline and focus and, and playing poised. I thought we did a better job of that.
Are there drills you use or something you use to kind of mitigate that pressing nature of players who want to make plays?
Yeah, I think there's certainly drills you do to help minimize. One of the things I know Coach Bone, they wanted more opportunities of, getting to the line of scrimmage in a team situation, in a game situation with urgency. So we did a little bit more of that last week. When you can get to the line of scrimmage on offense or defense and be what I call your home alignment sooner and earlier, the more you have it, the better the opportunity to digest what you see and make sure you're lined up right, your eyes are in the right place, the snap count, all those things. So the urgency to get back to the line of scrimmage and get ready for that next play was a point of emphasis.
And one more, if I could. When you do the team film review of the previous game, when there's a great play by somebody on the team, how does the group react? And when there's a negative play, do you call the guy out, or, how is the reaction different there?
Yeah, we're pretty even keel. We're going to obviously highlight the good plays. We showed 5 good ones to the entire team in the team meeting on Sunday. I did not show 4 or 5 bad ones to the team. If there's a learning opportunity in a miscue, we'll show that to the team. Those are addressed more as a defense, offense, special teams unit, or even in the position room.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can we go to Steve, please, on Zoom?
Hi, Coach. What on your personal assessment of how you were as in your position from week 1 to week 2, did things slow down for you at all as for your head coaching duties, or did it feel about the same?
Yeah, I felt a little more comfortable, toggling between offense, defense, and special teams with my headset and getting in the flow of things. Chris Marv and the defensive staff are doing an excellent job. They're working those players on the sideline. They're in those grease boards. We talk briefly when the defense comes off the field, and I'll chime back in at some point with maybe some afterthought on the series. But Chris and the guys are running with it and doing a nice job. There's a lot of communication amongst myself and the defensive staff each and every series, where we kind of have a pretty good idea of what that thing looks like when we're coming off the field and what needs to be addressed. So they're doing a great job, giving me the allowing me to be up on that sideline and more involved with what's happening offensively.
Did you have any kind of, I don't know, just like a advisory group that kind of said after the first week or anything like that, or did you just kind of self evaluate yourself as far as how it went for yourself out there?
Yeah, it was a little of both. There's 3 or 4 guys right now that are kind of game analytics, game operation, that are giving me feedback. We subscribe to a service that says, you shouldn't have gone for it on 4th and 1, or that was the right decision, or just to continue to educate myself on those situations. We've got a good group of guys that have, Sean Quinn has been a head coach and been in that situation. Brian Christ is working with us on defense right now, but he's been an offensive play caller. Stu Holt is a longtime special teams guy that has a lot of experience on situations. And so we got a good group. Jake Shell, one of our young operations guys, is heavily involved in analytics. And so I feel pretty good about the team we have working in that area.
Last
Thank you.
question on Zoom. Please go to David Teal.
Brent, Jaden Blue has yet to be productive in the passing game, but was his downfield block on Keyshawn's long touchdown run evidence that he's still engaged despite not catching a lot of passes?
Yeah, he's been great. And that was one of the 5 plays we showed the team on Sunday, was his block, which is so critical that our wide receivers understand the importance and get recognition for what they do downfield without the ball. And Jaden is continuing to improve. I hear his name being brought up more and more in the offensive staff room. And I would love nothing more than to see him come on and be more productive as a pass catcher.
And then, best I can tell, during your time at Vanderbilt and Penn State with Coach Franklin, you guys never had a Saturday, Thursday turnaround. As you look ahead, after that Wofford game is done, how will that short week impact post-Wofford and how you immediately engage with West Virginia?
Yeah, we've actually been working on that for a couple of weeks, what that plan needs to look like. We've got multiple plans from other places, what Coach Marv and the staff did at Mississippi State, what Coach Holt and Coach Satterfield have done at Louisville. Got 5 or 6 plans on my desk that I looked through and met with our strength staff, met with our sports science staff, making sure that we got a good plan. I feel pretty good about it. We kind of put the final piece to it this morning, and feel like we're set for what our week will look like. There's a little bit, for me, of how Saturday unfolds and what's the snap count look like for everybody, and one of those things where you go back to the GPS system on Sunday and say what was our volume. And how much do we really want to do on that next day? So, excuse me. Good question, but yeah, we've been working on that pretty hard.
Back here in the room real quickly, David.
We're going to talk to CJ here in a minute.
They're not, are they?
Not today.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk. I hope he was on the schedule, but
Yep.
he's a young guy who he got in the backfield a little bit for you guys on Saturday. Where have you seen him improve the most, and what do you like about his energy? I know when we talked to JC kind of at media day, he was raving about CJ.
Yeah, so I'm glad you bring CJ up, and he was one of the 5 plays we showed, and it wasn't a pass rush. He actually got cut and was on the ground and got off the ground and made an incredible effort play down the field. He can run. He's got some elite qualities to me, but the biggest area he's improved in is he's learned the system. He's learned the package, and I'm excited about him. We need him to come along and complement Taiwan and those other guys. When I talk about winning one-on-one battles, he's a guy I think that can really help us in that area.
Thanks, everybody. We'll have Taiwan for you here in just a
I was curious, you started out by thanking the fans. Given the 11 a.m. start time Saturday and who the opponent is, are you worried at all that the student section won't exactly be out in full force Saturday, or the fans in general?
Yeah, all I can do is encourage them to come out. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's Military Appreciation Day. You don't get many opportunities in Lane Stadium. So this is one of our 6 opportunities to be out there and have a great time together as Hokie Nation. So I hope that we have a great turnout, students included. Good question.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.